Hi everyone, and welcome to Diverse Books in Schooling. So my curriculum has been out for a little bit, but I realized that I've never gone through the who, what, and why of Diverse Books in Schooling. So first, the who. I'm Sammy. I'm in my mid-30s and I used to be a public school teacher. I have an elementary and early education degree, and I spent some time in early ed classrooms as well, and child care providers, as well as homeschool co-ops. So throughout my homeschooling journey, because I've been homeschooling my children for between 5 and 10 years now, I have learned a lot. And while learning and while looking through curriculums, I realized that there's some gaps that I could see a need and fill it. So I'm going to explain how I am filling that need. So the what behind Diverse Books in Schooling. I read a lot. When I was younger, I sought a lot of escape in books, and when I was older, it turned out that is because I myself am autistic, actually ADHD. And I spent a lot of time trying to escape into books because I did not have the best social emotional education for a bunch of different reasons. And because of that, it led to a lot of bullying, a lot of things that I really didn't understand about the world that made the world very unsafe for me. As I learned these skills as an adult through therapies, lived experience, my education background, and sitting in my own children's therapies, I began to really understand that there is a service I could provide with my lived experience from the other side of things, the knowledge I've learned to do better, and really pass this on to the community at large. So I have taken my love for literature, my love for silly humor, and the love for understanding the multifaceted world we live in to create curriculum. Now, my curriculum is all free, and I will go over the why behind that later, but let me share a little bit of tidbits about the curriculum that I offer. So the biggest one, which started off Diverse Books in Schooling, is Compassionate Kids. And Compassionate Kids is a 2-leveled curriculum with a lot more info in its own separate video on my page, but it is 34 lessons across all sorts of multifaceted elements that all tie together to make something beautiful. It starts with an introduction to a topic. It gives you books and video links. Then it takes you hands-on into a customized journal. These 2 journal levels go from K to 3 and 3 to 7th grade. And they're really, really engaging. It's not just fluff color a picture. It's connecting learners to their own lived experiences or experiences they can relate to kind of draw into that empathy. Then, because I realized my own experience, some caregivers probably don't have the best experience or verbiage in this area either. Not everyone. Some people had the ability to understand emotions right offhand. Their emotional intelligence was a little bit easier to grasp. But because of that, I've made Compassionate Caregivers, which is a resource component that goes with Compassionate Kids. And it allows you, the caregiver, to understand a little bit more about this topic and then how to relate it to your learner based on their age range. So if you have a preschooler, it gives you prompts on how to communicate this topic to your preschooler. If you have a young adult, it even tiers up and tells you how to work with that as well. It gives prompts for reflection and ways to connect it to your own unique experience. Then, as I started to work with Compassionate Kids, I realized that there are not really some easy grab and go book studies. So I took several books from Compassionate Kids and some other ones that I didn't get to add in because they're newer releases, and made book studies for. So they're social emotional book studies. You're not going to find a lot of grammar connections or writing connections in that sense. You're going to find art projects and listening activities and get out in the community activities. You will find, especially in the ones that are for middle grade, because I have middle grade graphic novel studies, you will find emotional connections throughout the book where you stop and discuss with your learner. There are questions for picture books as well, but it's not stop on this page and talk too much. After that, I used my love for music because I used to be in band and choir and had a lot of music background. And I used music as an escape as well as a kid. I used my love for music to make a wonderful interactive doodle journal called Emotions Through Music. And Emotions Through Music goes through 20 different emotions and connects it to teen years. So this is best for 12 and up because the references do talk about teen years and the swings and emotions and things like that. younger kids can do it, with a caveat of the educator should look through it a little bit more to make sure that it suits them. Because there are a few songs that have a little bit of sentence enhancing words in them, so it's always best to pre-screen that to make sure it's suitable for you and your learner. The last thing is actually the first homeschool curriculum I ever created, and it was called Mind Questing Adventures. Now, when I started this was in a virtual co-op, and it was the first time I was messing around with Canva ever. So the curriculum itself was not the prettiest format. It really was lacking, alignment and things like that. It had giant font because I thought it looked okay. I spent a lot of time with what I typed out again, and I saved it all from last year and reformatted it into a wonderful interactive questing journal. It's part story that you read through with your learner, but part connection with discussion questions and art designs and things like that. It takes a lot of fantasy elements and translates it into learners' skills for emotional intelligence, executive functioning, compromising, things like processing grief, but it's not hugely academic. So this is best for a introduction in a sense. It is best for a fun learning activity. It is for roughly 8 to 12-year-olds. It can be a little bit younger. As I said, you're reading this to your learner, so you know your learner best in their processing, and it could go a little bit older as well. But Mind Questing Adventures is really, really fun. I loved being able to reformat it because it brought a lot of creative writing skills to the forefront for me. But the why, the last part of why I'm here and why I do what I do. So, all of the curriculum I create is free. And one of the main reasons I did this, the driving force behind this, is when I taught in a very impoverished area. And I saw the income differences and how education could benefit children depending on their income status. So if you saw the cycle of poverty, it's really hard to climb out of. So I wanted to make this opportunity free for all homeschoolers and, public educators as well. This is all free because income should not be a barrier for education. I believe that even though some of my curriculum is book heavy, a lot of it is accessible through the library, through thrift books, through sharing with friends, things like that. I believe that we can all learn without the hundreds of dollars of overhead pricing going on. I do value my work. I am human and I do make mistakes, and I love when people report little broken links and things like that so I can fix it right away. And most of the time I do fix it right away. And that's another perk of being free, is I constantly can update and let people know, and if they really feel it's a problem, they can go re-download it and they have the newest information right there. And this is going to make it to where years down the road, if there's a better book selection or things like that, I can swap it out and put that in for you all. I love to be able to share what I know. And this is not in a pretentious way either. I really feel that through lived experience, plus bringing these books along to set the foundation for social emotional learning, we can cultivate more empathetic learners for our diverse world. This is all a secular curriculum. I did include a lot of marginalized voices, lots of disabled voices, lots of LGBTQIA voices, and BIPOC voices alike. So for those of you who are religious homeschoolers or religious in your beliefs, I will say that there may be things that could seem a little challenging for you, but it's not going to flat out call you out for your beliefs or make you feel like you are going against something you think. I really hope that you can check out everything I have to offer. Feel free to ask more clarifying questions below or contact me through my website. I would love to make Compassionate Kids and all my other curriculum work for your learners.